Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today we're going to do another flight in the Local Legend 23, the Fokker F-27 Friendship. And this one is going to take us on a KLM flight from Amsterdam to Düsseldorf, which is going to be a quick 40-minute hop between the two cities. That you could also cover in 3 hours by your car, but let's not get down into that. Alright, so we are going to do a little bit of a mix of historic and current operations over here, in that we are going to use the GPS for navigation, since Amsterdam only has on-off departures nowadays. So I'd say we are just gonna get straight into this one, and we will board our Fokker through the aft door, which is, well, kind of the passenger entry door. Now, yes, you could just chime in through the forward cargo door as well, but let's not get into that. Alright, so here we are inside. Let's make our way up to the cockpit and prepare our F-27 for today's flight. I'm going to keep this one pretty much in the style that I'm also doing for all my airliner flights, so do let me know what you think about this one. And yes, I do have a separate full tutorial either in the plans or already released by the time this one comes out. Alright, so let's take a seat over here and get started. There is a little bit of stuff that we gotta do when getting on board over here, so I suggest we are simply gonna get right into it. So we will be starting with the procedures and the checklist. So preliminary preparation checklist. Tech log and maintenance status checked. Aircraft documents are checked on board. Emergency equipment is checked. Oxygen checked. Circuit breakers are all in back there. Of course, none of them is modeled in the first place. So circuit breakers are all in. Landing gear lever is down, flaps up, and instruments are cross-checked. That's the preliminary preparation checklist complete. The cockpit preparation does start with a walk around, so I suppose we are gonna go right into this after loading up our airplane. So let's get started over here. We need the aircraft, flight performance, and mass and balance. For our seats, we are going to load up all 44 of them, so that we're actually going to go right up to the maximum weight here. Then in terms of cargo, we're going to take 3,000 pounds of total cargo. Fuel, we are going to pull it up to 70% like that. So load aircraft, load immediately, and with that we are up and running. Actually, look at that, that was already a bit too much. I said 2,000 pounds cargo originally, so let's do that now. Right, 2,000, and then we need a little less fuel just to make sure that we are at the max takeoff weight, not above that. Okay, here we go. Alright, cool. So that is looking fantastic. The new weight is loaded. Then let's go down into the electronic flight bag and download our SimBrief flight plan so that we can have a look at what we are going to do today. So we'll be departing Amsterdam bound for Düsseldorf on, disregard that airplane type here. There is no Fokker 27 available at the time I'm recording this. So therefore we can also disregard those fuel figures down there. Now, I can't really be bothered to scroll all the way down, but the one important thing here is weather in Düsseldorf is fantastic. They chose harness air alternate because why wouldn't they? Weather is good as well, but we can also come back to Schiphol anytime we need to. Okay, and that's our setup done, so let's go ahead and head out for the walk around, shall we? So do follow me outside. Now, really gotta say that the cabin does look great with all the people on board over here. By the way, do note the models. They seem to have repeated some of them, but it just looks fantastic having all those guests on board, doesn't it? Alright, so we're going to start the walk around at the very front over here, and we are going to start with a general view over the aircraft, making sure everything's in place, everything's looking good. The same goes down here in the forward wheel well. No sign of bird strikes or damages or anything. Then we do have the TAT probe, AOA probe, and then we can have a look at our engine. The propeller is looking in a good shape, and so is the main landing gear. Retraction mechanism, everything is looking fantastic. Alright then, let's go further along the wing and ensure our aircraft is safe for operation. The landing lights are looking good, and on the side everything is good. We can remove the pitot covers. Pitot tube is looking good, the nav light is undamaged, static wick dischargers are in place, aileron and flaps are in a good condition. Okay, then we can move further to the aft, ensuring the general condition of our aircraft over here, and everything is fantastic. So let's move around the tail, and everything is good over here as well. Static discharges are all in place. Okay then, let's just check the left-hand wing, making sure that everything's fine down here, which is looking fantastic. Then let's have a look around the flaps and the aileron, all of which are looking excellent over here. Static discharges are in place, pitot tube is good, leading edge is looking good, and then finally the props are in a good shape as well. Okay, so everything is looking good. Then let's get right back inside and start setting our Fokker up for today's flight. So where are we now? Okay, here we are. So our guests are here already. That means we better hurry and don't waste their time for too long. So two cabin crew. One would theoretically be sufficient for this amount of passengers since we got less than 50. Alright, cargo is on board as well, and then let's take a seat. Alrighty, here we are. So all of that stuff is looking fantastic, so let's go ahead with the cockpit preparation checklist. Exterior walkaround is performed. Then let's connect the ground power unit down here. So batteries on, ground power on, inverters are coming on, then battery voltage is selected. Okay, so external power on, agent low pressure lights are out, fuel quantity is checked and as required, emergency lights are not simulated, air conditioning is on your side over here, so all the heating is looking good, avionic and vents can open those, and finally we got our cruise level. We'll be cruising rather high today, so let's go ahead and select 7,000 feet cabin altitude over here. So cabin pressure is set, then we got the comms and the navs, and that's pretty much the most important and interesting thing for us today. So first of all, GSX, prepare pushback and departure please, just to get rid of that tuck down there. Okay, and while we're waiting for all of that to happen, let's go right down into our charts and get set up for the flight. So departing Amsterdam, we need the general airport chart because that one contains all the frequencies. Here it is, pin that one. Okay, so departure rate is 122.205. Yeah, that was a bit quick. Let's see, that one's set to 25 kilohertz. We do not want that. Let's see, where do we change that again? I think it's somewhere down here. Options. Nope, not here, not here, not here, here. Okay, common configuration, we do need 8.33, please. Thank you. Okay, so 122.205. Here it is. Then let's listen to the ADAS and see what they got for us today.
2.5 QNH 1018. Transition level 50. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Quebec. Amsterdam Airport, information Quebec. 1425 Zulu. Arriving runways 04, 06, 36 right. Departing runways 04, 09er, 36 center, 36 left. Wind 060 at 8. Cav OK. Temperature 9er, dew point 5. QNH 1018. Transition level 50. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight.
So 1018 and 1018. Then delivery frequency is gonna be 121.908.
Amsterdam Airport, information Quebec. 1425 Zoo.
Okay, and we've got information Quebec, so let's go ahead and request our IFR clearance here. Schiphol delivery, KLM 17999, information Quebec, request IFR clearance to Düsseldorf.
I'll have your clearance in just a second.
He's working on it. Good.
KLM 17999, cleared to Düsseldorf via the RNM 3 November departure. Expect runway 09er. Initial climb to flight level 060. Departure on 118.08 squawk 5546.
Clear to Düsseldorf via the RNM 3 November departure, runway 09er, climb flight level 60, departure 118.08, squawk 5546, KLM 17999.
KLM 17999, read back correct. Ground will be on 121.655.
121.655, KLM 17999. Bye-bye. Okay, here we go, 121.655. Then let's go ahead and make a couple selections here. The squawk is 5466. No, 5546, that way around.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard KLM Royal Dutch Airlines flight 1799.
4,
Departing from Amsterdam
6.
and heading to Düsseldorf.
Okay,
departure
is going to be on 118.08. I'm going to tune that over here. Just for reference.
And a warm atmosphere with coffee and gezelligheid.
Okay, and 1215 is also pre-selected. That's good. So all that stuff is in. Then let's go for the procedures. Departure, and we need the RNM 3 November departure. Runway 09 and load. Thank you. So GPS is selected. 085 is the first track. Not that it would make much of a difference, but let's select it down here. Okay, lovely. And we got a lot of stuff thereafter. So after RNM, we fly to Tebro and thereafter to Pisap for the arrival. So we got Tebro, which is that one in here. And then we are going to continue towards Pisap, which is this one. And finally to Echo Delta Delta Lima. And here we go, and that Amsterdam back there can go. So Amsterdam to Düsseldorf is in here, Pisap is selected, and that's it for the time being. And the main navigation page is in here. Okay, lovely, easy going. So we got all that stuff done. Then we do not need anything else down here, or down here, or down here. Initial climb, he sent us to flight level 60, which is selected, and the DME is on. Okay, lovely. And with that, everything is done and everything is selected. RNM 3 November 09, flight level 60, 1808, 5546. And that's all in here. Okay, easy going. So we're done with the setup. Then let's go right back down. We got the airport charts. We'll also take the parking stand charts. And for our departure, let's find the RNM 3 November. Here it is. Okay, straight ahead, couple of RNAV waypoints, that's it. And Schiphol VOR 108.4 is gonna go active on the radios. Okay, 1084, 1084, and 1084. Alright. Lovely, so we've done all that good stuff. Parking right down here. So let's go for takeoff briefing. This is going to be a lefty takeoff, runway 09, flaps, what's that called again? Flaps 16.5 according to the manual this time. V1, VR, V2, 110 and initial climb at 140. Climbing to flight level 60 following the on-off waypoints, which we are mainly going to do using the GNS 430. I might do a little bit of hand flying here, and that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions or suggestions? Nope? Lovely. So that's our departure briefing complete. Okay, and finally the trims are all neutral and set. That's the cockpit prep checklist complete. So let's go ahead and prepare ourselves for the engine start, please. Alright. So we do have the ground frequency over here. Then let's turn that squawk machine on and call for pushback. Scopal ground KLM 17909, request pushback and startup.
KLM 17909, pushback and startup approved. Face southeast.
Pushback and startup approved, facing southeast, KLM 17909. Okay. So, we'll disconnect the external power. And then let's get that thing off down here. GPU is going, doors are all closed, shocks are removed. Okay, that's all fantastic. Then let's go ahead and go for the before start checklist, please. So that's windows and doors closed, anti-collision light is on, fuel pumps all on, power and condition levers, idle and shut, before start checklist complete. Ground for cockpit, pushback and startup approved, and park and brake set. Roger that, facing southeast, release brakes. Park and brake released. Roger that, start the pushback, stand by for engines. Roger. Okay, and we're ready for engine start. Sequence will be 2 then 1, and we can commence engine 2 at any time. Roger that, you're clear to start 2. Roger, starting 2. So, engine start checklist. Starter on, start selector.
Welcome aboard KLM Royal Dutch Airlines flight 179,
starboard
and
and
from Amsterdam and heading to Düsseldorf. Our estimated flight time is approximately 45 minutes. We kindly ask you to pay close attention
then
to the upcoming
starter
safety
on.
demonstration, as it contains
The red light
information
is
about
illuminating.
frequent flyers. Please fasten your
So number
seatbelts
2 is
by
coming,
inserting
waiting for
the handle tape into the buckle and adjusting
1,500
the strap.
RPMs,
Remember to keep your seatbelt fastened. Whenever the seatbelt sign is
which is
illuminated,
roughly here.
turn your seat backs
Fuel
and tray
open.
tables to the upright position, and open your window blinds for takeoff and landing. Mobile phones and electronic devices must be set to flight.
And here we go.
Larger devices should be securely stowed. Smoking and the use of e-cigarettes are prohibited anywhere on board, including the lavatories. Oxygen masks will drop automatically if needed. Pull the mask firmly, place it over your nose and mouth, and
Okay,
breathe
pushback
normally.
completed, set brakes,
Secure your own mask before assisting others.
brake set.
Life vests are located under your seat. Put it on, fasten it, and inflate it.
That's a
only
good
after
start in
leaving
engine
the
2,
aircraft.
starting engine 1.
Floor-level lighting will guide
Clear
you to
one.
the nearest exit, which is clearly marked. Please note that the nearest exit may be behind you. In case of evacuation,
Engine
leave
1
all personal
starts.
belongings behind and follow the crew's instructions immediately. If any electronic device becomes hot or shows signs of damage, please inform a crew
So
member
that's
right away.
1,500.
Thank you for your attention, and we wish you a pleasant flight.
KLM 1307 contact tower on 118.105.
Okay, waiting for number 1 to accelerate. And here we go. Alright, so there's the tuck, there's the tow bar. Where's the ramp agent? That's a wing walker. Can't find the ramp agent. Hello? You there? There she comes. Yep, there she is. Okay, after start checklist. External power is removed, starter light out, and start switch safe. Engine anti-icing not required off, probe heat on, window heat is not required off, alert lights out after start checklist complete. And then let's go. Flaps 16.5, KLM 17999, request taxi.
KLM 17999, runway 09 taxi. Via Alpha 1, Bravo, Alpha, Quebec, Alpha, Alpha 20, November 5.
Taxi runway 09 via Alpha 1, Bravo, Alpha Quebec, Alpha, Alpha 20, November 5, KLM 17999. So we're in Alpha 1, then via... Okay, interestingly enough, Alpha 1 does not lead us on to Bravo, but yeah, then we are gonna do that quick bit on Alpha and then on to Bravo, and then a long time via Bravo. And then we'll see about anything else later on. Basically, it's from Bravo on to November 5, which is the full length runway 07. Or runway 09, that way around. Okay, easy going. Taxi slide on, park and brake off. Let's get going. Brakes checked.
Alpine 7895, runway 36 at the taxi via A19 at East, Bravo, Whiskey 10. Runway 36 center taxi via A19.
Alright, clear on the right side. And Airbus coming on the left side. And a Boeing behind him might take a little while. Actually, I'll tell you what. Oh, no, now he's accelerating. Of course he is. And now he's waiting for us. Okay. So we gotta do a right-hand turn over here and then next left on the Bravo. Clear right side. Okay, so we do go a little southbound, then it's a left-hand turn back onto Bravo, which is the northbound taxiway. From this position. It's basically quite easy in Amsterdam. The taxiway you're looking for is always the one that is on the right-hand side. So if we want to go northbound over here, then we're going to turn on a Bravo, and that's the one... yeah, that's the one. So basically you always drive on the right-hand side. Take that, Brits. You may be building roundabouts at your airports in Great Britain, but we're taxiing on the right-hand side here in Europe. Lovely 737-700. Probably not going to be around for too much longer anymore, unfortunately. Okay then, for now it's straight ahead for a long time, so let's do the before takeoff checklist. That's taxi light on, brakes checked, flaps 16.5, flight instruments, so that heading is good and all the rest is checked. Okay, flight instruments checked, strobe lights not required off. Weather radar is on. Transponder set. Flight controls. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. And we know that the rudder is working because we've been using it. Okay, pitch trim. Set. And that the before takeoff checklist complete. Okay, so for the time being we simply continue on Bravo. And let's get the airport chart. And we're going all the way here to November 5 via Bravo. So fairly simple. Let's synchronize that heading block. For the east, here we go.
KLM1035, runway 9 a taxi, via Alpha 20.
It does sound like they have a lot of traffic at runway 9, so let's try not to lose too much time here.
KLM1035, contact tower, on 118.105.
Let's pre-select that. (118.105), here it is. Okay, so we're going northbound, and then we'll make another turn to the left, which is going to put us parallel to the runway. And once we reach that, it's just taxiing another 2 kilometers to the end of the runway. So if you've always been looking for a tour of Amsterdam Airport, here it is. Are these used for de-icing over here? Does anyone of you know that? You could probably look it up in the chart, but that'd be boring, would it? After all, YouTube always tells the YouTubers that you have to drive the community engagement, and so on. Okay, we're now Bravo parallel to runway 09. So from here on... Wow, that's a large aircraft symbol. From here on, all the way straight to November 5. A little bit of wind, it seems. Constantly have to apply a little bit of rudder. Right now I'm out of the rudder, you can see how it's turning to the right. So it looks like there is one airliner ahead of us at the holding point. Let's hope that he's gonna depart soon, so that we can hopefully depart without any delay at the holding point. He seems to be doing the lineup right now, so it's easy going. To review the most important parts of the briefing: left seat takeoff, runway 09, flaps 16, takeoff speeds 110 each, climb out at 140, climb RPM 1450, and nothing special or non-standard engine out straight ahead. And then we can come back to pretty much any runway available at this airport. Questions or suggestions? No? Lovely. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay. Okay, no questions asked. 118.105, KLM 1799, see ya. Okay, and departure 1808. Schiphol Tower, KLM 1799 ready for departure.
KLM 1799, Schiphol Tower, runway 118, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 09er, cleared for takeoff, KLM 179er.
Speedbird 439er.
Okay.
Winds 040 at 7. Runway
Lights,
36 center,
lights.
cleared for takeoff.
Cabin crew, prepare for departure.
Cleared for takeoff, 36 center, Speedbird 439er Mike.
And transponder on. Okay, lineup checklist. Landing lights on, transponder out, and runway 09 is confirmed.
Speedbird 439er. Mike. Contact departure.
Okay, ready?
Okay, switching to departure. Speedbird 439er Mike.
Take off. Stabilized. Set takeoff thrust. $60 knots. Checked. V1. Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Alright, flaps up. And yeah, here we go. Lovely view of Amsterdam over there. So, set climb thrust.
LM 179er, contact departure on 118.0 late.
118.08 KLM 179er. Skipple departure KLM 179er passing 1700, climbing flight level 60.
KLM 179er, Schiphol departure identified. Climb flight level 060.
Climbing flight level 060 KLM 179er. Okay, so looking for 1420 RPMs. But unfortunately they don't really seem to change all too much when I'm moving my thrust levers. Well, then we'll just disregard that for the time being. Climbing flight level 150 KLM 179er. Set, 150 checked. Okay, so using the track indications over here in order to
KLM 179er, contact Amsterdam radar on 118.805.
118.805 KLM 179er. Amsterdam radar KLM 179er passing 3700, climbing flight level 150. And set standard.
KLM 179er, Amsterdam radar identified. Goedenamiddag.
Standard cross check passing flight level 40. Now. Checked.
Dutch Mill Center, KLM 49er Romeo, flight level 220.
Okay, so we're out on the climb.
Radar contact.
Then we'll start the next turn here momentarily. Disregard that. So the next turn is going to be track 103. Starting that now. So pretty much like this. Okay, we're nicely established in the climb out. Let's go ahead and engage the autopilot. Should have maintained the pitch. This one didn't, okay. So number 1 nav mode and number 2 climb. Give me a nice 1400 feet a minute here. Then we will be happy. That was a bit much. Something like this is fantastic. Okay, perfect. So after takeoff and climb checklist. Landing gear up, flaps retracted, taxi light off, fasten seatbelt sign. Yeah, we are not gonna need that any longer. Is off, altimeters standard and cross-checked. Landing lights, yeah, we can already turn those off to avoid overspeeding them. So landing lights off and pressurization. So 2.1, climbing and set. Okay. And that's the after takeoff climb checklist complete. So from here on out, things are gonna get a little easier. Now let's just give it a bit more pitch down here. 1500 maybe a bit much. Here we go, 1300 feet a minute. That seems to be looking good. Nicely maintaining 140 knots. And looking over here at the map, you can see that's fairly easy. Now let's go ahead. Display next route, yes. Setup map, orientation, track up. Here we go. Okay, there we go. So, with that we're nicely on our way. Interestingly enough, as we're gaining altitude, we are slowly... Oh, let's not overboost the engines. That was a bit too much power. As we're gaining altitude, we are also slowly increasing our rate of climb here. Now, that looks nice. Nicely under the red line. On the engine gauges, looking good. Maintaining a nice 140 knots, just like we should. 1500 feet a minute rate of climb. Going all the way up to initially flight level 150, later on flight level 190. Why don't we just have a look at that from the cabin? Let's just imagine to be a Shrike, shall we? I kind of like this perspective over here. But do we prefer to be this guy? Yeah, this is a nice view, isn't it? Short flight, 40 minutes only, but...
Dear guests, the use of approved electronic devices is now permitted in flight mode. Our cabin service will begin shortly. Thank you for your attention and enjoy the flight.
Alright. You seem to have a very good window location as well. So, we got a lovely route right now. I'm trying to find it, but Lelystad should be just around down here where FS Weekend is taking place as I'm recording this. So let's keep the door open. If any of the passengers wants to come visit us, then be my guest. So I think Lelystad is somewhere over here ish. Let's see if we can make out the airport. Do they happen to have some nav aids down there? Let's try. Echo Hotel Lima Echo. Search. Approaches, ILS. Lily start, Fox Romeo Oscar, but that's a DME only. And Thaniela's DME. They really do not have any NDB or anything anymore. Okay, too bad. But looking here, airport is located quite in the middle of that entire thing. So looking out from here, it has to be somewhere here. But I can't really make it out. If you guys see it, do let me know in the comments where it is exactly.
Flight level 380.
It's too bad. I would have loved to go there this year, but unfortunately it just wouldn't work out completely with my schedule. But I do remember once in the past I actually flew there, and that was quite cool.
Flight level 190.
So I actually flew there on the Piper Dakota, which was about a 45, well, maybe 50-minute flight from home back then. And yeah, it was pretty nice weather, kind of like it is right now, and was just fun. We actually parked next to Fokker 50 from the Royal Dutch Air Force. That was so cool. Unfortunately, by the time we went back home, they had towed that Fokker away. KLM 17999, request climb to flight level 190. Approaching is checked.
KLM 17999, climb flight level 190.
Climbing flight level 190, KLM 17999. Okay, let's pitch down a little, just so that we don't start losing airspeed over here. Quick look at the pressurization, how's that doing? Approaching maximum cabin differential. Might have to increase the cabin rate here to avoid going into the maximum differential pressure. And let's, well, no, 7,000 should be fine for the cabin altitude. It's just that we are still at a rather low cabin height here. So what's this down here? Spill valves. Okay, don't really need those. Okay, so we are clear to flight level 190. Here we go, set. And then we're not going to get that altitude alert either. Alright, so... no, unfortunately I can't really make out Lelystad Airport. Should be somewhere over here, but if you see it, do put it into the comments below. There should be a little racetrack next to it, which is kind of what I'm trying to use to make it out, but maybe here? That could be it. Yeah, that may be it. So, 1,000 feet a minute, we're looking at another 2,200, so 2 minutes to go to cruising altitude. Now we are going to do a little trick that you will find in the manual. That's in order to reach your cruise speed, they actually want you to climb 200 feet higher and then keep the thrust while pitching down in order to help with the acceleration, since that seems to make it a bit easier. Which suggests to me that there are some Mach effects taking place on the aircraft. But if you're wondering why we're doing this with the altitude, then that is why. Obviously, on VATSIM, not 100% sure if I would actually do it, but we'll see. Alright, 1000 to go.
1799, contact Düsseldorf approach on 128.655.
128.655, KLM 1799. $500 to go. Düsseldorf, KLM 1799, passing flight level 187, climbing flight level 190.
KLM 1799, Düsseldorf approach identified. Good and mid clear dust transition. Expect the ILS runway 05 right approach into Düsseldorf.
Expecting the ILS 05 right via Düsseldorf VOR KLM 1799. Okay, so here's the 200 feet that the manual spoke of. Now we are gonna pitch down. And that should help the acceleration. Here we go, 100 to run. Let's start the level off. And here we go, altitude hold. Yeah, what is it doing now? It's an altitude hold, isn't it?
Dear guests, we are now at cruising altitude, and the cabin crew will begin the snack
Let's
and
make that a
beverage
bit
service
better.
shortly. We invite you to enjoy our delicious Dutch coffee and a selection of our popular
So
snacks.
pitch down a
After
bit.
the service, selected items from the KLM shop will be available
Pitch up
for
a
your
bit.
convenience. Thank you for flying with us.
190. Altitude hold. Okay. And here we are. And look at that. Indeed, we are right up at speed. About 200 knots. It's fine for the cruise. Then let's a quick look down here. 234 knots over ground. 40 miles already covered. That is quite okay. Could definitely be a lot worse than that. Alright, lovely. So with that, we've reached our cruising altitude. We are within the safe operation range of our engines, so we can keep all of that. No smoking sign can go out. After all, this is a 1950s aircraft. And with that, we've made it up to cruising altitude. Now the fuel filter heat should come on now. Pitot heater, not really needed up here. Let's turn it off. And then we just gotta remember to turn it back on when we are starting the descent later on. Okay, cool. So let's tune Düsseldorf VOR 1515. Like that. Do we already receive something? Nope, not yet. Okay, that's fine. Down here we should have range of about 80 to probably more like 120 nautical miles for the VOR, so it could be in range already, but let's not bother with that. So, vertical navigation, or actually for that let's go ahead and enter the arrival first. So for now I'm just going to select the PSUP transition. So select arrival, that's the wrong airport. Echo Delta Delta Lima. Enter. PSUP 1 Alpha arrival, load. And then procedures, approach, select ILS 05 right. From Delta Uniform Sierra, load, yes. Okay, now what do we have? So now it's Tebro, PSUP, and then for the approach. So, 15 miles per hour Düsseldorf, we got that waypoint, and I'd say 15 miles per hour is a good spot to be in like 5,000 feet. So, 5,000 miles and... no, 5,000 feet. Let's say 1 mile before... yeah, 1 mile before Düsseldorf is totally fine. Okay, vertical speed profile, let's do 1,200. And like that we should be fine. Vertical speed required right now, 920, so we'll be starting the descent probably in 2 or 3 minutes, I guess. In the meantime, simply sitting up here and enjoying the lovely view from that classic airliner cockpit. I mean, this is quite the fantastic view, isn't it? I could most definitely get used to this. Might have to, with other aircraft like the TriStar and the A300 from Just Flight and the 747-100 from PMDG about to come out this year as well. At least I do hope that the PMDG is going to come out this year. Who knows if it actually will. Now I just want to go back to the cabin one more time here. And look at this. Quite high for an airplane like this, isn't it? I mean, I'm not sure if you would actually have maintained a lower level for a flight like this. The thing with those turboprops is that they climb at a lower speed than they cruise at. A much lower speed, and therefore you are kinda tending to waste a little bit of time there, because you don't really save all that much fuel by flying higher in these planes. A little bit, but not a lot, and therefore it doesn't make sense to fly eternally high, like the ceiling for the Fokker 27 is flight level 250. It wouldn't make sense to go all the way up there, but you know, I just wanted to get up here, enjoy the views. And as you can see, we had a nice little cruise here as well. Alright, let's go all the way back to the front, and then we can start working on the approach preparation as well.
KLM 179er, descend via PSAP 1 Alpha to 4000 for the ILS runway 5 right approach into Düsseldorf via Deuce QNH 1014.
Descending altitude 4000 feet on QNH 1014 via the PSAP 1 Alpha arrival, expecting the ILS 05 right via Delta Uniform Sierra, KLM 179er. Set, 4000 checked, so QNH will be 1014. Then let's see. Yeah, vertical speed required is basically 1200 already, so let's go ahead and start our descent over here. Alt hold is off. Let's start going down. We need about 1,300, 1,400 feet a minute here, since we will be accelerating a bit while we're descending. That's looking fantastic. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have
excellent.
Cruising altitude and have started our approach to Düsseldorf.
So we still don't receive the DME. 1515 is up there.
The use of the lavatories is no longer allowed. Thank you for your cooperation.
Without DME, we just have to rely on the VNAV page from the FMS for the time being. Not much we can do about that at the moment. Okay, so let's bring the cabin right down to Düsseldorf, like that. And since we have started the descent, let's run the descent checklist, please. So approach and landing briefing is actually still to go. Pressurization is set, fuel quantity is checked, seatbelts on, throttle is set, landing lights to come, and yeah, we are descending to an altitude, so set QNH. QNH 1014, cross-check, passing 17,300. Now, descent checklist complete. Okay, that was nice and easy. So, now we seem to receive something. Let's see, DME 40. 10 minutes, 1200 feet a minute, plus the vectors for the approach. We are looking pretty good in terms of our altitude. Now, for the altitude, what I'm doing is the standard range times 3, or altitude times 3. vertical range, that's the word I'm looking for. So we're passing 16,000 here. 16 times 3 gives us roughly 48 miles. We're now 40 miles directly from the field, plus the vectors for the approach. So we're actually running quite well in terms of our altitude here. Funny how the airplane is descending quite a bit faster than it is when you are wings level while you're in a turn. So it does obviously make sense, since part of the lift is now facing sideways and pulling us through the turn, but it's nice that you actually get to see this with an autopilot like we got in this aircraft. With all the modern aircraft, it is so easy to miss basic aerodynamic effects like this, for the simple fact that all the automation is automatically correcting for all that stuff, and then again you're only really looking at about a point something increase in pitch for a correction like this, so you would really not be all too bothered with it. But, you know, like this, better safe than sorry, and especially better to know all these kind of things than sorry. Okay, so now we are just monitoring the progress here. Right now I'm in fact not even too desperate on it, you know, on exactly chasing the altitude, because it's working. Why would I be, you know, constantly correcting the pitch right now? Let's get down, and once he's giving us radar vectors for the approach, that's when we are going to start getting a little bit more, let's say that's where we are going to get a little bit closer on monitoring our vertical progress. But for the time being, all easy. So let's see if we can already get a good view on what's coming up ahead of us. Nicely flying down the River Rhine over here. Actually quite the nice arrival leading us down here. We are having a look at our speed. We're at 220 knots right now. Obviously we're still running the engines at almost full power. And talk about that.
X-ray Golf Alpha Mike contact Langen radar on 135.35.
Yeah, a little careful with the engines. The torque is increasing. That's our torque up here. The torque is increasing as we are descending. So just got to keep an eye on that so that we don't get too fast here. So let's see, Düsseldorf. Approach ILS 05 right. We can pin that one. For the arrival, Peace Up 1 Alpha. Can pin that as well. And then got the airport charts and the parking stands. So ILS 05 right, here it is. 110.15 is already auto-tuned. And then 050 on the course. Like that.
Descend altitude 3,000 feet, QNH 1014.
Descend 3,000 feet, QNH 1014, KLM 17999. Set, 3,000 checked. So what are you saying here? 1,600 feet a minute required. But then again, that thing wants to be level over here. We got all that way to fly, so we're good in terms of our altitude. Now we are slowly but steadily getting into a direction where we might be facing some pitot icing again. So let's turn those pitot heaters back on. I'm going to keep the windshield anti-ice off because that's our first indicator that we might need engine anti-ice and that kind of stuff as well. So for the time being, we'll just be flying it like this.
Delta November Oscar Kilo Lima, contact Langen radar on 135.35. 135.35 for Delta November Oscar Kilo Lima.
Okay, so still following the arrival towards Düsseldorf VOR. And then at some point we are probably going to receive radar vectors. I just don't wanna, you know, I just don't wanna make it too fancy right now and ask for them. They will let us know when they got something for us. So, passing level 100. Let's see, we cannot turn the landing lights on just yet because the maximum speed for those is like 167, I believe. Around that area. So, a little careful there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now on our final approach into Düsseldorf. Please turn off all electronic devices.
What else are we doing? Well,
we arrive at the gate.
Not much. Frequencies are set.
Tray tables away.
Let's just put
Ensure your
1515
seats
down
are
here
in
for the
the
go-around.
position and fasten your seat belts. The current weather in Düsseldorf is
Like
mild,
that.
no precipitation. Our
And then we're all
assigned
set up.
apron East V19. Thank you for your cooperation,
KLM
and we look forward to
1799,
welcoming you
cleared
to
for the
Düsseldorf.
ILS runway 5 right approach via Düsseldorf.
Cleared ILS 05 right via Düsseldorf, KLM 1799. Okay, that's about the easiest way of doing this for us. So from Düsseldorf, it's going to be 279 outbound until 10.5 DME, max 220, left turn, back inbound, and that's it. So let's switch Düsseldorf VOR, active over there, and we're looking for an outbound track of 249er. I will fly that with raw data references. We could just fly it from the GNS as well, but why would we? It's loaded up here, we can use that for a backup, but I will fly raw data. Okay, let's see if we're gonna pick some ice up. Yes, indeed we do. Okay, then fuel filter heat is coming on, engine anti-ice on, and that's it.
Eurowings 82 Hotel Whiskey radar contact. Climb and maintain 17,17000.
Looks like we are already clearing the ice again, so that's all easy going. So there's our field. It's going to be a sharp right-hand turn onto the outbound track, 249. So let's just verify the gyro drift. We're looking at 165. That's roughly here. 249 is the outbound track, and we will need
speed 210.
Speed 210, KLM 1799. That's basically what we're flying anyway. Couple knots don't matter. Plus minus 10 is good. Okay, great. So, right-hand turn, let's make that 210 to intercept the outbound track. And VLOC guidance is selected, 249 is selected. Then we can go on a nice intercept track for the radial outbound. And just slow the descent a bit, then he also gets his speed.
Eurowings 82 Hotel Whiskey contact Langen radar on.
Alright, this is looking quite fantastic. So speed is around 210 as well now. Perfect.
For Eurowings 82 Hotel Whiskey. Good day.
Give me like 1,000 feet a minute, then we're good to go.
Papa Mike Oscar contact Langen radar on 129.
And once the radial starts coming in, we will activate nav mode. Here it is.
Over to Langen radar.
So back to nav mode. 249 outbound, and that until 10.5 Düsseldorf. Then it's a left-hand turn. Intercept the final on 080 heading. So let's select that heading to 080. Like there. Okay. Okay, so we're at 3 miles now. 3,000 feet to go. Intercepting the radial. 210 knots. Very easy indeed. Okay, nice intercept. Dead on. That's pretty good indeed. Haven't expected that. I haven't expected that at all. So, all the way to 10.5 DME. And then we're gonna make that left-hand turn to intercept the final. There's 8 DME now. We're gonna fly this until 10, and then we're doing 4 miles a minute. So for half a mile, we're looking at 10 seconds after this goes to 10. Our altitude is looking perfect. Speed is at 210 as instructed. Let's pre-select the tower, 118305. Here we go. Okay, 9 miles, 10 miles, 10 more seconds. And turn left. LS frequency active. 11015 for the ILS DME is also active. There's the glide slope coming in. 1000 to go. Okay, and then we gotta start reducing our speed. KLM 17999 is reducing speed now.
KLM 17999, contact Düsseldorf Tower on 118.305.
118.305, KLM 17999. Okay, maintain that altitude, please. Düsseldorf Tower, KLM 17999, ILS 05 right. And approach mode armed. Would you be so kind just to climb those 100 feet?
Identified. Continue approach runway 05 right.
Continue approach KLM 17999. Here we go, 3000. Okay. The glide slope is alive, the localizer is too. And we're turning on to the final. Approach mode is active. So set runway heading. 052 set. Now let's see if it's going to capture the glide slope. And here we go, glide slope capture. Go around altitude set. It is 4000, isn't it? Yes, it is.
KLM 17999, wind 030 at 10. Runway 5 right, clear to land.
Runway 05 right, clear to land. KLM 17999. Okay, nice. So, for the missed approach, we need Düsseldorf VOR again, so that's gonna be 1515. Very nice. At 6 miles, we'll start slowing down. And for the time being, I think the autopilot is doing a fantastic job. So let's start slowing down. And yes, this is kind of the first meaningful thrust reduction for pretty much the entire flight now. Okay then, now let's start reducing power even further, so that we can start extending the gear and the flaps. Okay, landing lights on, we are below 160 something. Taxi light on. And then flaps 11, gear down. 110 is going to be the final approach speed. Flaps 26. Speed checked. Okay. And manual flight. About 500 feet a minute for the approach is good. Landing checklist. Landing gear down, landing and taxi lights on, cabin crew advised, flaps 26 and airspeed 110. Landing checklist complete. If you're wondering why the nose is bumping a little up and down, I really have no clue. Ooh. Whoa, that's quite the downdraft. 110, please. Oh, that's interesting. So yeah, I have no idea why the nose is going up and down here. We're visual, huh? On a long runway like that. Not all that worried. Okay, flare, reduce power gently. And touchdown. Manual brakes. And then we'll come off at Lima 5. Keep rolling, please.
KLM 17999, welcome to Düsseldorf. Exit at Lima 5 if able. Contact ground on 121.605.
Vacating Lima 5, 121.605, KLM 17999, I'll see ya.
KLM 17999, cross runway 05 right, then continue taxi via
Ladies
Lima
and
5
gentlemen,
Tango.
welcome to
Whatever.
DO14 Seldorf. Did you know that DO14 Seldorf is known for it?
Düsseldorf ground, KLM 17999, request taxi to the gate.
We appreciate you choosing KLM Royal Dutch Airlines for your journey. Please remain seated until we reach our
Aft landing
final
checklist.
position. On behalf of your flight crew,
Flaps
thank you
up.
for flying with KLM Royal Dutch Airlines. The local time here is 5:10 p.m. For those with upcoming connections,
I couldn't understand a thing.
Flight KL 12.
Please say again.
6:15 p.m. from gate A20. Flight KL 456 to Munich, departing at 6:30 p.m. from gate B12. Flight KL 789 to Berlin, departing at 6:45 p.m. from gate C8.
Lima 5 Tango Gate, Victor 51, KLM 17999. Okay, Lima 5 Tango is pretty much just straight ahead, and then Victor is on the right hand side. Victor 51, no follow me needed, handling by Düsseldorf Airport. Is that the one straight ahead already? Yeah, Victor 51, there it is. Yeah, guidance system fail, no surprise. And stop, here we are. Okay, parking brake set and parking checklist. So, parking brake is set, external power is not available off, engine condition levers shut. Anti-ice off. Probe heat off. Okay, window heat off, exterior lights are all off, fuel pumps are off, seatbelt sign off, and emergency lights not simulated, and finally batteries off, and that's the parking checklist complete. Well, my friends, I do hope you enjoyed this one. Leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video. As always, like, comment and subscribe. And if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you all again right on the next one.